This sticker on the back of a late 40s Zenith radio gives credit to the developer and inventor of FM radio and one of my personal heroes, an electrical engineer by the name of Edwin H. Armstrong. Armstrong developed FM radio in the 1930s, and he actually started up his own FM radio network called the Yankee Radio Network in the early 40s. His whole idea was that he thought that the static that occurred on radios was a nuisance that didn't need to happen, so he set out to develop a radio that was free of static. Armstrong designed the circuitry, designed the whole concept of FM radio, and it was a brilliant idea. FM radio wasn't Armstrong's only development, though. He's the man responsible for the super heterodyne AM receiver, which I believe probably has had greater impact on our culture than the FM receiver. So Edwin Armstrong has been, as everyone who's been in radios more than 5 minutes knows, has been a pioneer in the whole world of radio. And without the ideas of Armstrong, radio would be a very different thing indeed. This tag on the back of this Scott, this 47 Scott 800B, also gives credit to Armstrong, and it notes that this radio is licensed under patents that are owned by Edwin Armstrong. FM radio is not always easy to understand. Sometimes it's hard to work on, but it's really a cool thing. And I'm going to spend time in this video working on the FM antenna that came with this Scott. Even the antennas are cool for FM. So stick with me and we'll go ahead and we're basically going to clean this antenna up. We're going to straighten it. We're going to make sure that it doesn't corrode like it is now. We're going to make sure that doesn't happen again. And I'm going to take a real quick peek at the transformer circuit that's in this can. All right, let's get started. Okay, I'm going to work on this antenna now. I'm going to remove the antenna from the tank circuit. I'm sorry guys, I went a little off frame here, but some of this work is important enough that even though the video isn't perfect, I want to hold on to it. So bear with me and I'll figure it out in a couple minutes here. Well, that's not coming off. Well, I suppose I pulled the cover off then, eh? Since it's attached to the cover, I'll pull the cover off. Okay, all I want to do, in case you hadn't figured it out, is get this antenna off because I'm going to clean it up, and I want to clean up this box, this metal box also. Boy, what a bugger this is, eh? That's alright, everything needs to be cleaned up anyway. And I'm sure that I want to have a look in here and make sure everything is good in there. I hate it when you think you can do something by loosening a screw or two and you wind up taking the whole dang thing apart in order to get something separated. There we go. You see how that's going to go back together? Right there. So let's separate that. Okay, now what I can do is clean up this antenna here, and there's not much to this. So that means I'll leave this be. I'll clean it up with a flux brush, and that's about it. I'll get these capacitors clean. They're pretty dusty. Other than that, I'm going to leave this thing be. I love the high quality they put into these things. This is not fragile like so many that you see. So, okay, there's that. What I really want to do now is clean up this can. So this is how it's assembled. So I'm going to take this little plate off of here. Clearly this thing was an afterthought and not made to be taken apart. Okay. how am I going to clean this up? Let me show you. Really simple. This should just be copper. Right? It should clean up real nice just with a little bit of steel wool. And it takes a bit of work. What I might do, it's coming off of there, but it's really slow. I don't want to spend the next 6 months doing this. So what I'm going to do, because I'm going to lacquer it. Okay, I didn't mention that. I'm going to lacquer it when I'm all done. I'm going to lacquer this when I'm all done. So what I'm going to do here is use a little bit of 1000 grit. I think it's 1000 grit. This may be 800 grit. I don't see the number on it anywhere. Anyway, it's a high grit. It's a fine grit. And I'll see if I can't sand a little of that off. There we go. A little bit faster. May not spoil all of my hard work. After all that sanding, I'll hit it with a little bit of 4/0 steel wool to kind of shine things up and give it a nice silky smooth appearance. Man, that copper dust and that corrosion dust gets everywhere. So I break out the old vacuum cleaner. It's a little bit noisy, but it only takes a minute. I think Wifey will sleep right through it. I sure hope so, because it's about 5:30 in the morning. Well, let's hope we didn't wake Wifey up. Well, I cut most of the video out, but this actually took a lot more work than you might think. I probably put a good hour into this. Now I've got to tape off the ends where they make contact with that with the terminals, because I don't want the lacquer that I spray on there to insulate. I'm getting ready to lacquer the thing, and I'll have her finished here in a few minutes. Okay, here is the antenna, all cleaned and I've lacquered it so that it doesn't corrode again. I don't want to go crazy on it. I just want to clean it up and make it look as decent as I can. And so I'll go ahead and set this aside. And this can will be a Simichrome thing. So let's get in there with Simichrome. This is not going to be perfect. The idea is to brighten it up a bit, that's all. Simichrome does really nice stuff for aluminum. On second thought, I think this is going to be better to be painted. It'll look better, it'll look more uniform. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And I'll show it to you when she's all done. Okay, here is the antenna with that transformer circuit attached. And pretty well ready to mount on the radio. I took the cover off that, nothing special, it was just a transformer. My camera battery was dead, but I didn't want to stop working, so I painted this cover. It's pretty well ready to go, nothing to it. And I'll go ahead and get it ready to install on the radio. Every generation sees its corporate giants, We have Microsoft, Intel, Google. Well, back in the 1930s and 40s, we had RCA. This is David Sarnoff. David Sarnoff was the president of RCA, and RCA called the shots. If RCA wanted it, RCA got it. RCA was heavily invested in AM radio, and they were spending a lot of money on television development too. And Armstrong's FM radio interfered with RCA's plans to keep AM radio strong and alive. RCA used its corporate strength to lobby the newly formed FCC to change the FM frequency band up to where it is now, from the 88 to 108. That rendered all of the radios useless that used the frequency band that Edwin Armstrong's network used. That's just an example from our past of how a corporate giant kind of called the shots and ran the little guy out of business. Happens all the time. Now, don't get me wrong, RCA made some phenomenal products. In fact, I make a point to separate the wonderful products that they made from the terrible corporate tactics that David Sarnoff and RCA used at the time. Here's my 68R4. This was made in 1946. It is an FM AM radio with a phono input, and it uses the newer FM. It's a wonderful machine. I restored it about 3 years ago. It sounds great, it looks great, and it's very reliable. RCA did make some great stuff, and I wish I didn't have to think about the other side of RCA whenever I look at my old radios. All right, that's the end of this one today. It's a short one because I'm going to be getting into the record player next and into the speaker, and those are going to be a little bit of a slog, so those videos will be a tad bit longer, and I wanted to kind of give you a break and give you a shorty this time. All right, from your Western Outpost in Salt Lake City, this is Michael. That's all for now.